When the world is under siege by a magical threat, Batman and an assortment of heroes must band together to stop it. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Lazarus Planet Alpha issue number 1, a brand new event series from Mark Waid, and find out together, shall we? So, you might actually be confused if you just picked up this comic today thinking this is where you need to start to check out the brand new DC event, because it's actually part of a much bigger storyline that's been going on in Mark Waid's other books. This comic actually picks up directly after the end of the events of the last Batman vs. Robin issue. All you really need to know is that Bruce was fatally injured in a battle with the Devil Nisha, before eventually a volcano on the secret Lazarus Island ended up exploding, coating the entire world in dangerous Lazarus resin. As we discover via superhero chatter, this resin has led to untold ecological disaster across the globe. Superstorms are now amassing, causing untold amounts of destruction. Moreover than that, though, the entire nature of magic and science as we know it in the DC universe is starting to be rewritten. So yeah, things are pretty bad right now, but believe it or not, they get a little worse. As you'll remember from the end of Dark Crisis, the Justice League isn't really an organization anymore, meaning that Damian has to actually rise to the occasion with his father hurt and marshal together as many superheroes as he can, most of them actually made up of beloved C and D-list heroes. Which, you know what, I'm always going to be for characters like this getting the spotlight, especially in big events like this where they normally fall into the background. You got Blue Beetle, you got Blue Devil, you got Zatanna, you even got Power Girl and Supergirl in the same story, which, man, this is going to be confusing, I already know it. Apologies in advance for when I inevitably call Kara Karen or Karen Kara. With the heroes all in one place, Damian decides it's time to send them off on their missions. One team will go to the Tower of Fate to try and break in and get at our villain for the peace, King Firebolt. Don't know who King Firebolt is? Well, he's the son of Devil Nezza, who had actually saved Batman and his friends at the end of the previous issue, but who has now graduated to full-on villainous status. Devil Nezza, King Firebolt, and indeed their whole family have basically been stuck in a centuries-long cycle of fratricide meant to mirror Batman's own fractured relationship with his sidekicks. It's a whole thing. Cyborg and Blue Beetle, using their alien technology, actually make some pretty good progress in trying to break into the tower. Unfortunately, they come face to face with the tower's new guardian, the Silver-Horned King, one of Firebull's associates. And naturally, if there's a Silver-Horned King, there has to be a Gold-Horned King too. He's already in the Himalayas, waiting to meet off Supergirl and Blue Devil's team at the pass. Their job was to try and find one of Ra's al Ghul's old bases of operations and hopefully recruit their old foe Devil Nezza into helping them now. These Horned Kings are tough, but worse too, these magical Lazarus storms are beginning to completely rewrite the rules of magic and technology in the world as we know it. For one thing, now sunlight actually hurts Kryptonians, which means Kara's powers are fluctuating all over the damn place. Kara also has an invested interest in taking down the Devil Nezza, as she was actually there originally when Superman and Batman sealed him away originally in the pages of Mark Waid's Batman-Superman book. Now, don't think this series is just nothing but big over-the-top Hollywood blockbuster-style action. Mark Waid also makes time for some more quiet, more personal moments. You'll remember if you read Batman vs. Robin that Devil Nezza had tried to steal the magic power of everyone on Earth using Black Alice as a conduit. Alice is understandably feeling pretty horrible about herself right now, but she ends up finding an unlikely friend in the form of the Monkey Prince, that new Jean Lewin Yang creation. In fact, as we find out in the backup story of this issue, Monkey Prince actually has a much deeper tie to Devil Nezza and his family than you might think. In fact, the Monkey King and Nezza were friends growing up. Speaking of Nezza, by the time that Batman and his crew manage to reach the nasty devil guy, he's already fighting off Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy. Apparently, these magical storms have already started messing up the green, meaning their two champions are going to kick some ass and get some answers. Supergirl actually manages to get her powers back just long enough to heat vision Nezza into submission. He's not dead, and that's a good thing, because the same Lazarus resin that saved Bruce from death at the end of that last Batman v Robin issue also kind of ended up entwining Batman's soul with the devil, meaning that with this guy passed out, Bruce ends up taking on more monstrous features. Ah yes, just what comics in 2023 need most right now, another evil Batman. 1. From there, we once again check back on in with Power Girl and her team over at the Tower of Fate. Thanks to Mary Marvel and a very well-placed use of Shazam magic, the good guys are actually able to free Phantom Stranger, Ragman, and the rest of powerful DC magic users who got trapped in the Helmet of Fate by Neza. Obviously, they're going to need all the help they can get if they ever want to stop this whole Lazarus Storm crisis. Now, as the comic comes to a close, we get a glimpse of a map, which in turn gives us a little taste of tie-ins that we can expect to read in this Lazarus Planet story before eventually Damian, who's been doing a great job directing people, comes under attack by King Firebull himself as the comic ends. And so that was Lazarus Planet Alpha issue number 1, everybody, and overall I thought it was a pretty decent kickoff to this brand new story event. Yes, I know we just finished Dark Crisis, and probably the last thing a lot of you out there want is another big DC event filled with tie-ins. Lord knows I can't blame ya. But I'd also be lying if I said I didn't really enjoy what Mark Waid was doing in the build-up to this one, and hell, this is essentially a magical event with a lot of focus on the more magical characters who never get the spotlight and who don't have their own books right now, so if you like those characters, this is basically the only place he can enjoy them. Hell, in many ways too, this feels like an organic extension of the finale of Dark Crisis. There is no Justice League anymore, which means Damian and the others have to actually rise to the occasion and work overtime to make sure all the right heroes are in the right place. Also, even though Batman is featured quite prominently on the cover, he's actually a hindrance to his team in this story, which is kind of cool in and of itself. I feel like a lot of people are actually going to end up enjoying this story. I just hope it doesn't have to suffer for coming out so close to the end of Dark Crisis like it is. Overall, I would give it a very positive 8. I can't wait to take this ride.
Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.